What's going on? Welcome back to Musa Gaming here, and today we have some duel reports that I have for you today for me to share with you guys because our friend here, Tiny Mikey, actually got a new account that has a pretty decent stuff. If you look at his Sun Zeus equipment, he has basically all critted iconic one, but has the two pieces of the KVK weapon and helmet, and has the Horn of Fury, and has the Concealed Dagger critted, and has Eternal Knight, Sacred Crisp, and then Shio's Return. And then he came to me and said, "Hey, Meta or Musa, whatever he would like to call me. Hey, do you want to go ahead and duel me?" And I was like, yeah, why not?" And one thing led to another. We actually went into a duel, and you guys can see that this is actually pretty generic setup that he has. He has the pincer setup with Toppler, which is a really good set. But then again, yeah, in general, this is something that I think every one of you guys probably might have, right? So and we went into a couple battles, and first things that we did want to test out was like, okay, so how does he perform against my infantry? And my infantry is actually not that bad. If you guys look at it here, it has iconic 1 critted helmet, but it does have iconic 2 critted hammer of sun and moon. It does have the Eternal Knight, iconic 4 critted, and then it does have iconic 2 critted Hope Cloak. It does have the ring and the horn, the horn and the drum. So I do get I think I might have a rage advantage, even though I'm not using a critted horn. But overall, I would say my equipment is better than his, and even armor aside. Despite the fact that I'm using Arch, I think this setup technically should be better than what he has, but I think the fact that I'm using Destructive was a big no-no, unfortunately, compared to whatever I had. And, you know, I'm not saying that whatever my... I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'm just trying to kind of identify where I lost against him. And I think having Destructive and having that rage, 100 rage consumed against him was probably the big factor that I did take into play when I actually fought against him. And yeah, I lost pretty significantly, despite the fact that I have most likely better gear and better armaments, which is very surprising. He was using Sun Tzu Prime Liu Che. I was using Sun Tzu Prime Liu Che. And then if you look at the battle log, I think that's probably where we can kind of identify where the difference was, right? And you can see that, okay, well, I do a little bit more damage than he does, and then he does more damage on the next turn. And then overall, I think I am taking like 9 more damage, it looks like. But then again, once it gets to the active skill, oh, surprisingly, I actually did fire off the active skill first, and then he fired off his. But yeah, that smite damage difference is just absolutely crazy, guys. The smite damage difference on the Sun Tzu Prime is absolutely crazy, and the fact that he's using Toppler does really make this a big difference. So, if you guys are wondering what makes a big difference, is if you guys are still using Arch, and if you guys are wondering why your infantry's not training so well, it's because you're not using Pisser, and this is probably a good example of how that's gonna work. Now, I'm not really slower on the rage generation too. It looks like I'm actually firing off skills at the right time, but I just am not doing enough damage, as much damage as he's doing, which is very interesting. And again, right here, yeah, I'm not really slower in rage generation. It looks like, given the fact that I'm using also, double rage accessories. So yeah, this is very interesting to see. And then this is the first turn that I am like a turn slower. But yeah, very interesting stuff. But I thought it would be cool to share. And then he actually wanted to try against my secondary cavalry set. And it looks like I have won with my Arthur Achilles. Now, my secondary cavalry set is not amazing, but it's not bad at all. I have Iconic 4 on most of the places that does give me field damage bonus. So this is a pretty good set, and I'll say the Delta Formation, I have 3 special inscriptions, 1 rare, 1 normal inscription, and have a decent amount of stats. But I was actually pretty mad to see how well the Baichi Liu Che actually did against my Arthur Achilles. Because despite the fact that I won, I was like, yo, I have way better equipment than you do, man. For God's sake, I have like, yeah, like I have iconic 4, he has iconic 1. The fact that it traded even up to this point was very, very interesting, right? And I told him, if you use Sun Tzu Prime Bai Chi, you might have actually won this. Because at the end of the day, Bai Chi has a really, really strong duel synergy. If he's in a duel, and if he triggers this expertise skill, which takes once you get to 50% units remaining, you deal 60% more damage and then take 30% less damage for the next 6 seconds. And then once you get to 15%, you deal 100% more damage and then take 50% less damage for the next 6 seconds. Bai Chi, Sons of Prime Bai Chi is probably the best infantry dual march that you can have, just because Bai Chi actually has this expertise, and it is very, very OP, very, very OP for dueling scenarios, right? And then we tested that exactly, right? And we tested that exactly on the next turn, on my second gear versus his first gear, and look at that, guys. Look at that. Although we went against 100k versus 100k, I lost. I lost with my secondary cavalry gear, and I have better gear than he does. You know, like by far, I have better gear than he does. Regardless, I just could not win against the Sun Tzu Prime Bai Chi. You know, Bai Chi, and you can kind of see it in the log itself, right? I am kind of destroying him until he gets down to like 50%, right? So, well, not really. It's actually not. It's actually pretty even, which is also surprising, right? Yeah, but once he gets to 50%, that's when the gap becomes wider. And now I'm already down to 30,000 by the time that his like passive actually wears off from the expertise. And then once we get down to 15%, he may not even proc this at 15%. Yeah, there you go. That 15%, that 50%, 30% damage reduction, and then 60% more damage dealt is just absolutely crazy in duel. And then he won against my Arthur Achilles. And I was like, oh god, Arthur Achilles sucks. And then I actually went again with my best gear set. And you guys know my best gear set. This is probably as good as the Cavalry Rally and Garrison Leads gets in Rise of Kingdoms, right? Have full Iconic 5, full credit, KVK weapon and helmet, and also at the same time have the full Delta formation with 7.8% all damage, with almost maxed out stats on everything else too. And this is what I went against, basically an average Sun Tzu Prime Bai Chi. And look at that. I only traded like 10% positive, guys. 10% positive. Now, with that said, Arthur Achilles is not really meant for a dueling march at the end of the day. So, given that he, Tiny Mikey probably didn't want to trade like too negative. I told him, hey, like let's test how other marches do that could be against the Sun Tzu Bai Chi in the same scenario. So I tried Arthur Gangnam Chan. Now, Arthur Gangnam Chan, in my opinion, is probably the best cavalry setup that you can actually use on the field, on the dueling setup, because Arthur has 2,800 damage factor, Gangnam Chan has 3,000 damage factor, right? Although Achilles is a really, really good commander when he's actually out on the field, that 2,800 damage factor and then 3,000 damage factor is way better than having Arthur's 2,000 damage factor in a 1v1 scenario, right? And then when we use Arthur Gangnam Chan, the gap was wider. You can see that it was about like 13% difference, whereas when I did it with Arthur Achilles, it was about 10-11% difference in terms of KP. Now, we did want to actually also test the Gangnam Chan Achilles because that's what I used for my first march on the dueling scenario. Again, this is just a dueling scenario, so just so that you guys actually get a better hang of like the comparison and all that stuff. And when you look at that, you guys can see that this did trade pretty well, but it did not trade as well as an Arthur Achilles did. It was slightly lower in terms of trade ratio. I think this is about 107% trade ratio in terms of KP, but it's good to know at the end of the day that this was actually trading. I thought to see the difference between each and every one of those, field dueling march at the end of the day. Now, would I have destroyed him completely if he used Sun Tzu Prime Nietzsche and without the Bai Chi's OP passive? Probably, yeah. I mean, I mean, look at this, right? Yeah, I destroyed him, right? I destroyed him with Sun Tzu, Liu Che, with my first gear, and yeah, the kill point difference is not even close, right? But because Bai Chi has that crazy OP dueling synergy, and this was not even my first, yeah, this was not even my first set. This is my second set, right? And because Bai Chi has that crazy dueling synergy, it kind of makes the playing ground even, despite the fact that I have crazy armament and gear advantage over him. Of course, it helps that infantry has more damage dealt against cavalry, but yeah, that's just what I wanted to kind of share. I thought there's a couple takeaways that you can take. One, if you're a cavalry main and if you want to duel infantry, don't do it. And if you have to do it, make sure you ask the other person to use Zanzu Prime and Li Che, because Bai Chi's expertise is really, really OP. And in terms of what is like the best dueling march in Rise of Kingdoms for cavalry, Arthur Kangam Chan seems to be the best like 101 situation cavalry setup. And then Kangam Chan Achilles is actually the last, right? And then Arthur Achilles is the second. So it goes with Arthur, Kangam Chan, Arthur Achilles, and then Kangam Chan Achilles in that order, which is interesting, but something that I did not know, something that I just wanted to kind of share with you as I did those testings today. All right, well, that's about it in terms of what I have for you today. I hope you guys actually enjoyed today's video, and then I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the rest of the kind of like the footages that I got for the duels with him. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see y'all in the next video, guys. Peace.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
blood is some sort of pain. You caused a permanent stain, which has determined your fate. I've never seen so clear, I feel the end and it's near. The day of reckoning's here, the sound of deafening fear.
You gon' die if you try. You just might get a little bit of trouble. K-N-I-F-E, right in your side. You will never see me coming. You gon' die if you try. You just might get a little bit of trouble. K-N-I-F-E, right in your side. You will never see me
My
coming.
energy is next level, so damn you better be careful. I got an angel and devil, he snaps me straight in the temple. I'm ready to be a rebel, I've got a lot of potential hidden inside of this vessel. That shit is so exponential. I need a first class ticket to the top, no limit. I don't play no gimmicks, I'ma take you to the clinic. If you want a taste, come at me and you will be replaced. They won't find a trace of you anywhere or any place.
You gon' die if you try. You just